Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm gonna be giving you part 16 of What If Naruto Became the God of Lightning. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Had Cosmic Energy, and enjoy that guys. And I also post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had a New Dream That Will Change Everything over on Anime King 2. So go ahead and enjoy it as well. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, as both Sakura and Sasuke were making their way towards Kakashi and the hospital as they were going to be parted soon. As Naruto had went out, they haven't been going on missions so much lately, as things had been rather hectic for the village, as Sakura was still in the hospital, treating many patients that had suffered injury in the battle that happened. But she didn't mind her new job, as she rather liked being a medic and taking care of people. As both her and Sasuke said goodbye to each other as they separated. Sasuke made his way towards Kakashi, who was early. He was surprised by that, Kakashi being early. Kakashi had a, feeling though. He already sent Asuma and Kurenai to check on that feeling. He told Sasuke that he would be back later. Sasuke wondered what was going on, but Kakashi simply gave him an eye smile and told him that everything was fine. Meanwhile, as Naruto and Jiraiya were making their way, they stopped at a few towns, but there was no luck of Tsunade. Jiraiya decided to teach Naruto the rasengan. As on the way, Naruto was trying to learn it, but his chakra was so electric every time he tried, the thing simply repelled and exploded in his palm. Jiraiya went out to go and find Tsunade and find information when Naruto was attacked by Kisame and Itachi. Sasuke had arrived from Konoha when he had checked up on Kakashi only to find him at the hospital, as he had faced off against his brother. So he went out, seeing that Naruto and Jiraiya hadn't left the Fire Nation yet. As he found them, Sasuke, who has been pent up for so long, the curse mark hasn't been used. Sasuke exploded in rage as the curse mark spread over his body, as Itachi took notice of that. But he caught Sasuke arm with ease same way. Sasuke was shocked. All of his training. Naruto took on Kisame, as Kisame was quite shocked as he got zapped right in the shoulder when Naruto burst him underneath the ground, throwing him through the window. Kisame burst back inside as Naruto saw Sasuke drop to the ground as he was shaking before passing out, as Itachi did the Tsukuyomi on him. Before Naruto could do anything else, Jiraiya arrived. They took that as their chance to retreat. As they left, Guy had came out there to find Sasuke and bring him back. As he took Sasuke home, no more than ever they need Tsunade, as Sasuke wasn't waking up because of what Itachi did to him, the Tsukuyomi. Jiraiya told Naruto about the Akatsuki and the threat that they pose. As Naruto only see one way out of this, he was gonna have to become more powerful than Asani if he's gonna take on a group of S-rank missing in. As Jiraiya liked the determination that the kid was showing. They searched for Tsunade the entire day as they couldn't find her, as they went to get something to eat. And to their luck, Tsunade was in the bar. They went over to talk to her. She ended up disrespecting Sarutobi. In the way she spoke, as Naruto got angry. The both of them went outside to battle. Tsunade was quite surprised as Naruto had even zapped her. Before the battle could get even intense though, Jiraiya ended the battle between them. Tsunade made Naruto a bet. If he was able to, do the rasengan, by the time the week was up, she would come back to Konoha, she would think about it, and even give him her necklace. Shizune was quite surprised by that. But if he failed, he was gonna leave her alone and also give her all of his money. As Naruto accepted that deal, at Kumo, as Samui was training with her team, as she went a bit hard on them. Saying that she was stronger than Amoy and Karu when it comes to it. As Yujito saw the girl was a bit pent up, It looked like she missed her little Naruto-kun. She kept on teasing her. As Naruto was thinking the same thing as he wondered when he would see her again. But Samui knew something that Yujito wasn't supposed to tell her. So she knew that she would see Naruto again. With that out of the way, Naruto continued working on rasengan, only for him to find out that he couldn't do it. He then came up on a theory as the fox asked him how stupid he was. He was trying to separate the electric chakra from its normal swirling chakra that he wanted to form the rasengan. That is why it wasn't working, so he decided to combine them. As a loud screeching sound could be heard, a big smile came on his face. So yeah guys, it was basically last we left off. You guys can switch across to the playlist and check it out for yourself. So this will be in this new episode. We begin this episode at Kumo. Bright blue eyes open up as she stared up at the ceiling. She didn't move for a few seconds until she picked herself up off the bed. She was in nothing but her underwear and her bra as she made her way to get a shower. After taking her shower, she came back down, dressed in new underwear and bra, as she got dressed fully, before making her way to the small kitchen as she got something to eat. She sat at the table. There was no one there, only her. As she glanced across the picture frame that was to the table, it was two people. A man with shaded white hair. It wasn't that he was old. It was just common Kumo. Dark skin, while the woman had much brighter skin tone. Blonde hair. She had brown eyes. The man had the blue eyes. And in between them was a small little girl. It was none other than her, Samui. As she smiled at the fond memories, but thinking about the past always brought up the darker memories. So she decided to focus on something else. Her face became red. She wasn't one to be shy about anything, but she had really been bold. Well, it didn't matter because she was leaving the village for now, so she had took the initiative and kissed him, right on the lips. What if Yujito or her teammates had saw her? She blushed in embarrassment, as by herself she could act like what she wanted. She didn't have to put on this cool attitude. She could act like how she really felt. It's been a long while since someone excited her. By just being her friend, most people didn't understand her. Yes, most people thought that it was weird how she, was certainly blunt about certain things. And her smart remarks, her fast remarks as well, that caught people off guard. But him, he was always catching on to them, always having something to say. That is probably why she liked him so much. She blushed once again. Of course she liked him, as she had made that clear by kissing him. As she really hoped what Yujito said was gonna be coming soon enough. As she wondered where he is right now. She laughed to herself. Here she was acting like a little fangirl. Or probably that's just the way you act when you really like someone. Well, it wasn't like she was used to these kind of emotions. So that is why it was so weird. And it didn't take her much time to kiss him, because she was never used to being shy. But now she was thinking about it, that was rather brave of her. As she wondered, she remembered seeing that look on his face. Of course he liked it as well. She wasn't me too straightforward and brave, right? She thought to herself. She shrugged. As she finished eating, she cleaned the plate before she left. As she went to team training, perhaps they'll be going on a mission today or some more training. She didn't know. Far away from Kumo, another set of bright blue eyes opened up, as a smile came on his face instantly as he took in the fresh air. As he did it, today was finally the day. His body was exhausted from last night, but he felt better now, as he had been pushing himself last night to make sure he got it down quickly as well. Jiraiya was able to create the Rasengan in seconds, and he managed to get it down rather quickly though. But his Rasengan was a lot different from what Jiraiya created. Well, all of them will see soon enough. He got off his bed only to trip face first, as he slammed right into the wall. Mother of God, he said. He turned around as he rubbed his bruised face, only to see Shizune. He ran over towards her as she was lying at his bed. Shizune! Shizune! Shizune jumped up as her head slammed into his face as Naruto fell down as he held on to his face. Again? Shizune looked at him as she looked around confused. Tsunade-sama. Calm down, said Naruto. What's going on? Tsunade-sama. We have to go, she said. She made her way towards a window. only for a kunai to stop her by slamming right into the stone wall. She turned her head. You're not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on. Pervy Sage. What the hell happened to you? Said Naruto. Snavy. She drugged me. As Jiraiya fell down only to be caught by Naruto. This is bad. Shizune. What the hell is going on? Shizune had a grim look on her face. I'll find something to help you, she said, but we need to hurry after that. Tsunade-sama might be in big trouble. Meanwhile, Orochimaru had a smile on his face as he watched Tsunade walk towards him. She stopped a few feet away. Ah, Tsunade. Why the long distance, he said. You're acting like we're not former teammates and friends, he said. She said nothing. Why so silent? I know that you're not the silent type, Tsunade. So what's going on, he asked. If you're wondering if you're making the right choice, trust me, you are. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at him dangerously. As she stepped forward. I presume you're here to hold up your end of the bargain, he asked her. As long as you hold up yours, said Tsunade. Someone landed right beside him. Tsunade narrowed her eyes towards him. Oh, don't worry. This is just my faithful assistant. You don't have to worry about him, said Orochimaru. As Tsunade stepped forward. It's good to see that you're making the right choice, Orochimaru said, as he held out his hands. Tsunade's hands started to glow green. Kabuto's eye twitched as he threw kunais towards her, making her jump back. Kabuto, Lord Orochimaru, that jutsu of hers would have done more harm to you than good. As Orochimaru turned and slanted eyes towards Tsunade. Is he correct, Tsunade? She smashed her fist into the wall, breaking it to pieces. Like I would ever align myself with a scum like you, she said. Today, Orochimaru, I'll rid you from this world. Orochimaru looked at her, as Kabuto narrowed his eyes. So strong. No, I can see why she's not in a relationship, he said to himself. Ah, Tsunade. It seems like you've chosen the wrong side, and there's no one else out here to help you. My. I guess if you can't get what you want, you will have to force it. So, Tsunade, I'll have to force you to give me what I want. Just try it, she said, as Orochimaru licked his lips. Meanwhile, Jiraiya wasn't looking so good. As Naruto glanced back towards him. Don't worry, kid, I'll be fine. You're gonna be a liability. That is what you're gonna be. Jiraiya's eyebrow twitched at that. I'm still a Sannin, kid, I can handle myself. Against another Sannin, Naruto asked. As Jiraiya noticed, on the ground, blood. It was coming from Naruto's palm. As he just took in notice right now, Naruto's nails were digging into his palm. This man was the same man that killed Jiji, and this time we can't let him get away. Shizune narrowed her eyes when she felt the pressure coming from him. The ground underneath his foot started to crackle a bit as he made his way, its speed increasing. As Naruto's whisker marks started to become more defined, his eyes turning a darker shade of blue with slits in them. The group finally made their way towards the destruction. Nothing but destruction. What Naruto saw made his blood boil. Tsunade was on the ground, and Kabuto was stepping on her. The ground broke, as Shizune had to cover her eyes, as Naruto leaped forward. Kabuto, years of fending off against danger and hidden in the shadows, kicked in as he moved, as a claw hand ripped through the space where his head was supposed to be. As Naruto landed right in front of Tsunade, Shizune quickly rushed over as she pulled her kerchief as she wiped off the blood off of Tsunade, who was still shaking badly. As Naruto did not turn back, he just kept looking forward towards Kabuto. Ah, Naruto-kun. Once again we meet. As Naruto looked at Kabuto's headband, his nails started to extend even longer. You, he said. Yes. As you can see now, I was a traitor, you all would say. But the thing was, I was never allied with the Hidden Leaf. So you're here as well, Jiraiya. I see you're not looking so good, said Orochimaru. And you brought your pet fox along with you. You know, I left you to die. And yet somehow you survived. And now you came back to face me. It is like you're looking for a death wish, Orochimaru said. As Naruto's eyes were wide, no emotion would be shown across his face except for anger and rage. What? You here for revenge? Orochimaru asks. You sad that I kill the old man. The moment those words left his lip, a blue haze exploded from Naruto as Jiraiya had to move back as the electricity ripped through the air. Kabuto had to step back. The power, it's so immense. As he wondered when did Naruto got so far in controlling this power. When the smoke and everything cleared away, growling could be heard. Standing there with four tails dancing behind him was Naruto as he was hunched over. Orochimaru's eyes glistened. Going all out from the start, I see. No more holding. He couldn't get to finish that sentence as Naruto appeared in front of him. Naruto's claw hand scratched across his face and launched him into several massive stones. His body slammed into them hard. Orochimaru recoiled from the shock, blood exploding out of his mouth. He was in no condition to fight after all, with his arms a mess, and his body was still aching from having his arms sealed away. Kabuto jumped in the way over a tail to smack him across the face, launching him back with tremendous speed. He had to slam his heel into the ground so he wouldn't be going any further. Even in her shocked state, Tsunade could feel the immense pressure leaking from the boy. As she looked up, his entire body was bathed in a cloak of pure lightning. It wasn't any skin, just lightning. Shizune was surprised. Jiraiya and all of them had to put a hand in front of their face. The dust, the air around him started to pick up as he shot forward on all fours. He wasted no time as several arms extended from his cloak. Orochimaru jumped as he had to twist and dodge, his body moving fast to keep up with all the arms that tried to grab onto him. Kabuto, he screamed. Kabuto wasted no time as he rushed towards his master and bit his thumb. He wiped it on Orochimaru's summoning tattoo. Summoning jutsu, he said. Two brown pythons quickly emerged as they charged towards Naruto. Naruto's claws flexed on his hand. His entire hands were claws in the way, as he could see them quite pronounced, as he ripped into the skin of the pythons, only for Orochimaru to use the opportunity as a sword ripped into Naruto's stomach, launching him backwards. Jiraiya's eyes went wide as he launched himself off the ground, a rasengan trying to form in his hand, but the thing was too small. His chakra was still not behaving how he wanted it to. Kabuto saw him come and unleash a hail of senbon. Jiraiya did have enough chakra for a technique though. Needle Jaito, he said as his hair hardened and blatted away all the senbon coming towards him. Kabuto had to jump back as Jiraiya's large feet crashed into the ground. Jiraiya swept his hair like a mop, ripping through the air as they were now hardened. Kabuto stepped back just in time, but not fast enough as he ripped, tearing through his clothing, slicing his skin. As he had to flip over Orochimaru, who opened his mouth as several snakes came from his mouth and tried to wrap up Jiraiya. Jiraiya leaped back, flipping with his ear. His hair then fired with senbons, impaling all of the snakes. Orochimaru's mouth was still wide open, with a kusanag coming out of a snake mouth. When the smoke and the dust cleared, Naruto looked down towards his stomach. The sword hadn't literally pierced him. He grabbed onto it and tossed it to the other side, throwing Orochimaru's head to the side. He used his tail like a sling as he stabbed one in the ground to pull himself and launch him towards Orochimaru at high speeds, his claw coming down to tear his head completely off. Kabuto jumped in the path though with a kunai. He tried to block Naruto's claw like an idiot. Naruto's claw ripped right through the kunai and ripped into his skin. A scream that came from the bottom of his stomach erupted from his mouth as his hand was teared clean off. As Naruto twisted and slammed his heel into Kabuto's head, his entire mind shook. His head slammed into the ground as he was down. As Naruto then brought his both hands down to rip into Orochimaru's skin, only for Orochimaru to release thousands upon thousands of snakes. They all swarmed upon Naruto, only for him to roar, electricity bursting out of his body, ripping the snakes apart with ease. Kabuto picked himself up. His head was gushing blood as it was burst. He wouldn't die from that though. Kabuto was a good medic then. He was already trying to heal his arm that was currently just a stump, trying to stop the blood flow. As he placed a hand to his head, he was panting. Blood was coming from his mouth and his nose as well, as he couldn't believe that the power of the fox was so immense. This boy, if he ever mastered that power, he would definitely be on a level that none of them could match. Orochimaru smirked, as he knew if he stayed here for too longer. He glanced towards Jiraiya, who was recovering quite well, and Naruto, who was growling. He would definitely die. He was in no state or condition to fight. He smiled towards himself though. Lucky he did reconnaissance before coming here. The ground started to tremble a bit, as Naruto turned his head to see a large group of sound ninjas rushing towards their location. The one that had came back with him and the one that was still at the village. He knew that Jiraiya and Naruto was in this town, as he didn't trust to fight Jiraiya and that boy after seeing what Naruto did to Gaara. Well, the one-tailed beast was still a tail beast, and that simple boy had defeated it. He surely had some grasp over the Nine-Tails' power, so Orochimaru made precautions. After the signal was given, all the sound ninjas came rushing in. Kabuto picked himself up as he held on to his severed arm and pulled himself towards Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto, we're leaving. Naruto simply growled as he released a roar. A massive ball of pure electricity released from his throat that burst right through the army of sound ninjas. They were launched, they were electrocuted, they were torn. Bodies were sent sailing away. As Naruto slammed both hands into the ground, tremors went in as electricity spiked, tearing through the ground, ricocheting into sound ninjas after sound ninjas. In the chaos, Orochimaru had moved. Orochimaru knew that they were here for Tsunade, probably to become the next Hokage, and Konoha, having her and getting back to proper levels. He wouldn't allow that. That is why. As Naruto felt it, he snapped his head around just in time. Shizune saw him looking at her. As she turned, her eyes went wide and Orochimaru was shooting towards, not her but Tsunade-sama. She wouldn't be fast enough to stop him. Tsunade looked up as she saw the blade coming towards her face. Damn it, Naruto cursed. As he moved off, he needed as much speed as possible. Unknowingly, his entire body, different from the four-tailed state of the Kyuubi, his body turned. This was not the transformation of the second form of tail beast. His entire body turned into lightning, speed that even excelled the High-Shin. He appeared right in front of Tsunade. But seeing that his body was still not fully solid because it was just pure lightning, Orochimaru's sword slipped right through his stomach. But his body hardened right on the sword, stopping it from piercing through Tsunade's forehead. Tsunade looked up. As Naruto's body started to return back to normal, he looked down towards his stomach. The lightning started to recede. The tail started to lower. Blood came out of his mouth. Shizune spun around as she was ready to take Orochimaru's head off, but he slapped her to the side with his tongue. After all, it wasn't his tongue using the Kusanagi blade, it was another snake in his mouth. Tsunade looked up at the boy that just risked his life for her, as she saw his legs shaking. No doubt, the poison of the Kusanagi blade rushing through his system. Orochimaru looked at him. You stupid, stupid boy. Well, I guess this is a fitting end for you. He ripped the blade out of Naruto. Well then, I guess we should finish it off. Jiraiya was too busy as he was being swarmed by the sound ninjas, who didn't stand a chance even in his weakened state. Orochimaru raised the blade, only for a boom. A fist connected, his eyes bulged. He was launched like a bullet. He smashed on the ground several times. Several of his teeth were broken. Orochimaru picked himself up, blood leaking from his mouth. He was a mess. His face scrunched up in pain. Tsunade, I won't allow you to touch him, she said. Orochimaru cursed as he saw Jiraiya barrel right through all of the remaining sound ninjas. As he was rushing back to the scene, Kabuto! Orochimaru didn't care about other pawns. Let's go. As Naruto was about to fall, Tsunade caught him right in her arms. She tear his shirt wide open. Don't worry, brat. I won't let you die, she said. As her hands quickly went towards the wound, Shizune was shocked as Snatty started work with the wound, despite there was blood. Her hands were going through the blood. Meanwhile, Naruto felt his vision drifting. Hey, am I dying? He said. Of course not. You think I would just allow you to die like that? After all we've been through, said Kurama. Huh, I guess not. And not to mention, she's a top medic in the world, right? So how would you die? Well, I just feel so weak. Given the fact that I'm currently working on purging this poison out of your system, you should feel weak. But at least you did it. You were able to condense your body into lightning. Not with my power, but with your own. I'm proud of you, kid. Naruto smiled. Thanks. And you're right, I can't die. I mean, I haven't even lived yet. Yeah. I mean, you never sampled the female flesh before. So yeah, you haven't even lived. That's all on your mind, isn't it? Said Naruto. It seems like you're forgetting that you're a giant fox who can turn into a human at any time. So yeah, what are you gonna say about that? Asked Kurama. Well, I guess I have nothing to say about that, said Naruto. Snatty saw him. As she saw the wound, the fox was helping a great deal. She was surprised how compliant the fox was being. The poison was being purged from his system, but he must feel incredibly weak. Hey, I think I'm gonna pass out now, said Naruto. Get some rest, kid, you deserve it. After all, your village has a new Hokage now because of you. Huh, I guess He was gone as he passed out. Flashback. Snatty was standing as she was watching Naruto. She suppressed her chakra quite a lot. Being a medic nin, you have to have a certain degree over your chakra, and she was the best medic nin in the world. So she could suppress to the point where most people couldn't even sense her. As she watched him create the rasengan over and over again, as she couldn't believe he actually did it. So, she would have to go back to Konoha now. Seeing this kid's determination, she had already made up her mind that she would kill Orochimaru for what he did. But the kid was something else. He actually did it. In the flashback, Naruto groaned as he wondered what the hell was going on. The first thing he felt was something strange around his neck that wasn't supposed to be there. His hand reached up slowly. He was so tired. As he held on to a green necklace, he brought it up to his face, knowing it as a necklace. You deserve it's the voice. He slowly tilted his head to see Snatty sitting there. She was just sitting on the bed looking out the window. So, I won? But I didn't show you the rasengan. I already saw you perform it. When? Said Naruto. My secret, she said. So you're watching me the entire time? Of course. Had to make sure you weren't cheating in some way, or doing something to throw me off guard so I'd come back with you. You were quite determined about that after all. Huh. You know that was really stupid of you, Brett. To jump into that blade attack like that. You could have gotten yourself killed. That blade of his has a strange toxin that can kill a grown man in seconds. But you and I both know that you're special, and your body was able to fight it off, but still, that was rather stupid. Couldn't allow you to die, said Naruto. Why not? I've been nothing but miserable, and cursing at you the entire time, to leave me alone. I asked Jiraiya why you were so miserable, and he told me, said Naruto. Snatty narrowed her eyes at him. It's just that you never got the opportunity to make up for the mistakes that you did in your past, for running away. And if you had died like that, how would you have made up for the mistakes? To live your life, to become Hokage, to have a new dream, a goal, a purpose. So you did all of that so you would have a purpose. What if you had actually died, she asked. Well, I wouldn't, said Naruto. I have too much to do. Like what, she asked. Well, first of all, I'm gonna become the strongest shinobi in the elemental nation. And I'm gonna master my lightning element, to the point where I'm known as the god of lightning. Yeah, that's my goal, he said. And there's a special girl out there that I would like to meet again. Snatty looked at him. Let me guess, that's the biggest reason, right? Huh. Well, let's just say they're tied. As he smiled at her. So everything is alright, right? You're coming back. Purvis says it's okay. He's not pissed at you for jugging him. Well, I told him I was coming back. And he's not so pissed anymore, said Snavi. Huh, thank God, said Naruto. Well, I guess we should... He picked up himself, only for Snavi to push him back down. Easy, kid. Your body is still fully adapting after that. You need to get some more rest. Being stabbed right through isn't normal, you know that, right? Most people have already been dead. Huh. Guess you're right, said Naruto. Well then, I guess I'm not up to full strength yet. Because I feel so... He fell asleep. Snapped smiled, she walked over. As she kissed him right on the forehead. Naruto Uzumaki. He said it himself, he wanted to become the strongest shinobi in the elemental nation. And she believed that he can do it. She believed that he will do it. The least she could do was help him along. Time skip. Back at Konoha, as Sakura was currently looking down at Sasuke in the bed. He has been unconscious ever since he came back. She was told that Naruto and Jiraiya were all there. That they were going to bring back someone that can help Sasuke and Kakashi as well out of these states. As she looked down at him with a worried look on her face, hoping that Naruto will get here soon. After all, he always did the impossible. Always somehow finding a way to help them in the darkest situations. Suddenly, the door slid open as she turned. She saw him walk in with a smile. She instantly got up as she walked over. Naruto, she said, as she hugged him. As Naruto looked at her, before giving her a hug back. Everything's gonna be alright now, Sakura, he said. Look who I brought. As he pointed behind him. Sakura eyes wide in amazement. Lady Snavi, she said. Snavi simply gave Sakura a smile before stepping in. She had already dealt with Kakashi, and now it was this boy. She moved towards him as she stood there. Sakura watched in amazement as Snavi simply placed her hand on Sasuke's forehead. It glowed green for a few seconds until Sasuke started to stir, his eyes blinking open. Sakura now understood why she was the world's best medic. After that, Snavi sighed. After all, she's been to the office already, and she saw the amount of paperwork to do. As Naruto simply grinned a bit, as her eyebrow twitched, she really wanted to punch him. To make things worse, he was making fun that she had to do all of that, and it made her really wanted to punch him. A smirk then came up on her face as she realized something. You do realize I'm your Hokage now, right? Yeah, said Naruto. Then, I can seclude you from your team and send you on only D-rank missions, if I please. But you wouldn't, said Naruto. Oh, and why wouldn't I? I mean, I don't know how strong you are. You might be even weaker than Jenny in level. So perhaps you're not ready for any C-rank missions or higher. Sakura was confused, as she didn't know that the both of them had such a close relationship. Didn't they just met? Huh. Not higher than Jenny in level, huh? Well, I suppose when you read the reports on the Chunin exams, you will find out which level I'm at. Perhaps I'll skip over your name. Naruto eyebrow twitch. You wouldn't. Oh, wouldn't I? You're joking, right? She walked out of the room. Bachan, you're joking, right? Bachan, he called out, as he chased after her. Sakura released a sigh. Sakura? She turned as she rushed forward and hugged Sasuke. Sasuke-chan, you're weak, she said. Sasuke stood there confused, until everything started to kick in. A snarl came on his face. As Sakura pulled back, you must be starving, she said. She didn't know when he would wake up, so she didn't bring here. I'll be back soon, she said, as she quickly made her way off. Sasuke lay in the bed, thinking about everything so far. He was able to defeat that guy Amoy at the Chunin exams. He was able to defeat a lot of sound ninjas, but his brother was on a completely different level. No matter what he did, he still lost. He was still too weak. Effortlessly, his brother held his hand, stopping his charge like he was still nothing but a mere child. as Sasuke clenched his fist tight. When? How? How would he ever find a way to surpass his brother? He glanced towards his neck as he remembered the power that he felt coursing through him. But that still wasn't enough. That still wasn't enough. But you remember what Orochimaru said to him? That when you seek him out, you will get more power. Sasuke stood there, his mind railing over the things that he was thinking over at the moment. He wanted to get stronger to kill his brother. But doing that, you have to leave the village. You will have to leave them. Despite everything, they have come to be his closest thing to a family that he has. They no longer had verbal wars between them. Well, when Naruto decided to piss him off, he did, but they were close friends. If he had to say Naruto was his best friend, but he would never say that out loud. But still, he was so weak, he couldn't defeat his brother at all. What was the point? That was his main goal. He couldn't let something like friends hold him back. He has to get stronger. He has to get stronger no matter what. It would pain him to do what he has to do, but he has to leave this village. He has to find a way to get stronger. He has to find a way to make his brother pay for what he did, even if it meant betraying the people that he come to see as family. Yes, that was the only way. That was the only way for him to get stronger, and he will do it. Sakura came back and groomed the container. As she smiled, it will hurt him badly to do this to them, but he will do it. I hope you're hungry, Sasuke-kun, she said. I made this especially for you, she said, as she gave him the most sweetest smile that she could muster. It was really paining him just to think about this, but he then remembered what Itachi showed him, his family being slaughtered over and over again. Little brother, you don't have enough hate, and you never will. You will never be strong enough to defeat me. He knew by now that he wasn't strong enough to defeat Naruto, so how would he ever defeat his brother? He wasn't strong enough at all, for nothing. Sasuke-kun, he turned his head. You spaced out there for a moment, said Sakura. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine, he said. Time skip. 2 days later, Shizune had to literally hold back Tsunade as she wanted to smash the decks and destroy all the papers. Lady Tsunade, you can't, said Shizune. Tsunade took in a deep breath as she calmed herself. Alright, Shizune, you can let go now. I'm fine, she said. Are you sure? Shizune, I'm fine. Shizune sighed as she released her master. Tsunade looked down towards the amount of paperwork that she had to do, as she couldn't believe that it was so much. She wasn't even able to promote the Chunin applicants. After all, they all did well in the exam and deserved their promotion, but she had to go over so much things first. Like the San. Several letters had been sent back to Konoha. They had been trying to get good with them. She had to hold a council meeting, and everyone was agreeing with the idea that the San was being manipulated by Orochimaru. And if your Hokage told you to do something, you will do it no matter what. So the council was being misled. There was only one man that Tsunade saw had a disagreement with her, but he did not say it out loud. She saw that he was with the idea of attacking by the Hidden San, because that is the first that he said. She knew that man all too well. Donzo Shamira. She really hated that man, even when her sensei was running things, as he always acted like he's a big deal, more special than everyone else, despite him only being an old cripple. And there was the other two old hags that she really hated. She was a goddamn Hokage, not them. They couldn't tell her what to do. She couldn't even give the kids their promotion yet, as she would have to go through all of this paperwork first, and also read through all of the status from the judge. But there was one in particular that she read through. It was about Naruto from the Fire Daimyo. The man had shown great interest in Naruto, even writing his own recommendation for Naruto, saying how well he performed. Given the fact that he did not write this for everyone, you can tell that he really saw something special within Naruto. But that was besides the point right now. Tsunade knew that he was Chunin level, as he had already shown that facing off against Orochimaru, he was strong indeed, and he had the mindset, as she could tell that the kid was rather smart. When he came to goofing around, he goofed around. But when it came to focusing, he was focused and smart. But that was not the problem. She couldn't afford to sign up anything now. She had to deal with all of these first. All of these goddamn paperworks. Shizune brought her decks over. Alright, Snazzy. I'll help you so everything go faster, she said. Snazzy looked towards her long-time apprentice with a look of pure happiness. Meanwhile, at the hidden sound, Kabuto was walking around, as his arm had been the same like what it was since Naruto had tore it off. There was a strange white substance. It was a different material than his skin that connected back his arm to the stump. He flexed his arm. He was angered. His flawless skin had been tampered with. And he didn't like that much. It made him resent and hate Naruto even more. But that wasn't the main topic right now. Did you inform them that failure is not the option? Yes, my lord, said Kabuto as he looked towards Orochimaru. The Sound Four were sent to Konoha to retrieve Sasuke one way or another. Well, that was judging on how he take the news of coming back with them. Little did Orochimaru know. Well, he was right about what he said in the first place. No, Sasuke really wanted the power, and he was gonna do anything for it. Time skip. As Naruto was currently standing with Sakura, the both of them had went on a mission with Team 7. Yes, their team. Kakashi and Sasuke. Sakura had some worries because Sasuke was acting rather strange. That is why she asked to speak to him. Yeah, more than quiet, said Naruto, as he noticed that as well. Well, you can't really blame him. Oh, I'm not, she said. You see, Sakura, you remember what I told you about his brother, she said. Yeah, it's quite difficult for him to accept that he's still not strong enough to defeat his brother. So it might be put him in a bad state at the moment. But don't worry, he'll get back to normal soon enough. Once Kakashi up his training, Sakura released a sigh. I hope you're right, she said. Come on, am I ever wrong here to ask? Well, not really, she said. Because I'm just that awesome, said Naruto. You have nothing to worry about. It's not like Sasuke's gonna run away from the village, said Naruto, as he simply walked off. Yeah, he was right, Sakura thought. Sasuke would never do something like that. As she made her way home. Later that night, Sasuke was inside the Uchiha compound, as he hadn't been here since the whole event with his brother. But tonight was the night that he decided upon everything. Tonight was the night that he finally made a true decision on whether he was gonna stay here or leave the village. That is why he's here. This place brought back so many dark memories, so many repressed memories that he hated. It made him angry. It made him vengeful. And that is what he needs right now. He needs to be angry at the world. He needs to be angry at everything, so he could get his revenge by leaving his village and becoming stronger. Suddenly, he felt something strange. He turned to see 4 people landing behind him. As he stepped back in confusion. Who are you? He said. Well, Duckbutt, we can either be your saviors or your executioners. A redhead girl said. What? Said Sasuke. Look, we know about your curse mark. We also. The one in the center says he pulled down his shirt, showing a curse mark as well. You belong to Orochimaru, said Sasuke as he shifted his leg into a fighting stance. Oh, trust me, kid, you don't want to do that, said Kidomaru. He's right, said Seikon. Lord Orochimaru sent us to bring you back to the village, for him to be able to give you the power that you deserve. The power that will make you be seen as number 1, the strongest. Isn't that what you want, Sasuke? Asked Seikon. Sasuke said nothing. You know we can't stay here for too long, Duckbutt, said Tiawaya. So what will it be? Are you coming, or we will have to take you by force? Seikon looked at her. She instantly went quiet. As Sasuke looked over the Uchiha compound. You are not strong enough. You will never be able to defeat me. You don't have enough heat. Kill your best friend to gain the power that you seek to defeat me, and then we can talk. You will never be as strong as me. You will always be a failure. I'm coming, said Sasuke. Seikon smiled. You see, that was easy enough. Alright then. Meet us at the east gate. We'll be waiting. With that, the four of them vanished. Sasuke took in a deep breath. Was he doing the right thing here? Yes, he was. He has to get stronger. And if that meant destroying all the bonds that he had in the village, he will have to do it. As he went off, he packed his things. As he made his way. Lucky for her, Sakura was also thinking about Sasuke the same way. She was also still worried despite Naruto comforting words. Do not worry. So she was gonna visit him. She knew it was rather late. But at least both of them will be there for her to truly find out if something was wrong. If he needed more help somewhere or somehow. Sakura saw him walking towards her. She thought that he would be at home. But he was coming from a different location. That was where the Uchiha compound was. She thought he wouldn't go back there after what happened. He looked up as he looked at her. A look of regret in his eyes. Sasuke-kun, where are you? She noticed the backpack. Where are you going? She asked. Naruto words instantly run in her mind. It's not like Sasuke will leave the village. Sasuke-kun, don't tell me that you're... Sakura, I'm leaving, he said. Tears immediately rushed to her eyes. Why? She asked. This village. It can't give me the strength I deserve. So I need to leave and get stronger. Leave to get... You can, she said. We can help you. I can help you. I can tell Kakashi-sensei to improve your training or something. Please, you can't just leave, she told him. I'm sorry, he said. Don't apologize, just don't do this, she said. He turned his head, as he didn't want to look at her. Their relationship has grown so much. She has grown into a strong, proud kunoichi that helped him on missions, that even saved his life in one of them. As he was falling off a cliff unconscious, she had grabbed him and she had climbed up at the cliff, saving his life. So he couldn't look at her, because he feared that he might break down. His mind was plagued with emotions at the moment. But there was one thing that was certain in his mind. He has to leave because he has to get stronger. Sakura, no, she said. She cut him off. When Naruto told me that you would never accept me because I was weak, that I was just gonna be seen as a joke because I wasn't a true kunoichi, I focused on my training and I got stronger. And through that time, I just loved to be a part of a team with you guys. I never got the time to truly tell you how I... She took in a deep breath. She was saying I too much. I love you, she said. As she looked at him, please, look at me. I've always enjoyed our time together, all of us as Team 7. I didn't want to ruin anything by telling you my true feelings, so I kept it to myself. But please, I love you. Sasuke was behind her in a second, as he placed a hand on her shoulders. Sakura, She did not retaliate because she thought he was gonna... I'm sorry, he said. He chopped her in the back of the neck. Her eyes dim as her vision went black. He caught her as he picked her up and put her on a nearby bench. As he placed her down, a single tear slipped from his eye. Tonight he was leaving. He had already signed his fate. There was no going back now. He was going to leave no matter what. Looking back at her, tears slipped from his eyes. He wiped them away quickly before fleeing off into the night to leave the hidden village and never to return once again. But guys, the end subscribe right here. If you want to see next part, so do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications to stay posted. But I'm over now. See you guys soon. Peace.